The forest floor was a mess of snapped twigs and churned up earth. That's where the trail went cold. One minute, I was watching this tiny, hairy creature, no bigger than a toddler, playfully peek out from behind an ancient oak. I'd stumbled upon it completely by accident, deep in a part of the national park I'd never explored. It looked just like the stories, so like a baby Bigfoot. It had these big, soulful, dark eyes that seemed to hold a wisdom far beyond its size. I was so mesmerized, so utterly frozen by what I was seeing, that I didn't even think to grab my phone. And then, in a blink, it was gone. It didn't run. It just vanished into the dense foliage. My heart was pounding, a mix of adrenaline and disbelief. I had to know if what I saw was real. I took a few cautious steps forward, my boots sinking into the soft moss. "Hello?" I called out, my voice barely a whisper. It felt silly, talking to a creature of myth, but I didn't know what else to do. Silence. The only reply was the rustling of leaves in the canopy high above. I pushed aside a heavy fern, peering into the gloom of the undergrowth. Nothing. It was as if the forest itself had swallowed it whole. I started circling the area, my eyes scanning for any sign, any track, anything that would prove I wasn't losing my mind. That's when I found the first one. Tucked at the base of a fallen log, almost hidden by moss, was a small, intricately woven doll. It was made of twigs, grasses, and what looked like strands of dark, coarse hair. It was a crude but unmistakable effigy of a human figure. A chill snaked its way down my spine, cold and sharp. This wasn't a child's toy. There was something ritualistic about it, something deeply unsettling. I left it where it was and kept searching, my initial excitement now replaced by a growing sense of dread. A few yards away, I found another one, this time dangling from a low-hanging branch, swaying gently in the breeze. The forest, which had felt so magical and alive just moments before, now felt menacing. The air grew heavy, thick with an unspoken warning. It felt like I was being watched, not by the curious baby creature, but by something else, something much older and far less welcoming. My instincts screamed at me to turn back, to run and not stop until I hit the asphalt of the parking lot. But my curiosity, or maybe just my foolishness, pushed me forward. I had to understand what was happening here. What was the connection between the baby Bigfoot and these creepy dolls? I followed the direction the second doll seemed to be pointing, deeper into the woods. The trees grew closer together here, their branches interlocking overhead, plunging the path into a perpetual twilight. The birds had fallen silent. The only sound was the crunch of my own footsteps and the frantic thumping of my heart 10 prima sa W Italiano. A third doll, placed squarely in the middle of the narrow game trail I was on. This one was different. It was larger, and nestled in its twig-woven arms was a single, bleached white bone. I couldn't tell what animal it came from, but it looked old. This felt like a clear message. A boundary, a sign telling me, do not cross. But what lay beyond it? I stood there for what felt like an eternity, wrestling with myself. Every fiber of my being was telling me this was a terrible idea. This wasn't my world. I was an intruder here, and I was being warned in no uncertain terms to leave. I thought about the little creature, its innocent and curious eyes. Was it in danger? Was this some kind of protection for it? Or was it a trap for me? I took a deep breath, the scent of damp earth and decay filling my lungs primera audi tuno. I carefully stepped over the doll and the bone, my body tensed for a threat I couldn't see. The forest changed almost immediately. The air became colder, and a low, almost inaudible humming sound seemed to emanate from the ground itself. It was a vibration more than a sound, a deep thrumming that resonated in my chest. Up ahead, through a gap in the trees, I saw a clearing, and in that clearing was something that made my blood run cold. It wasn't a cave or a nest. It was a structure, a crude, teep-like shelter made of massive logs and branches, far too large for any human to build alone. It stood at least 20 feet tall, a dark, imposing silhouette against the fading light, and all around it, hanging from every tree, were the dolls. Dozens of TM, maybe hundreds. They were everywhere, an army of silent, stick figure sentinels. Some were any, some were ancient and decaying, but they all faced outward, away from the structure, as if guarding it. This was their home, their sanctuary, and I had just trespassed in the most sacred of ways. The humming grew louder, and from the dark opening of the massive shelter, a shadow moved. It was huge, towering, and it blocked out what little light remained. It wasn't the baby. It was the parent, and it had seen me. A low growl rumbled through the clearing, a sound so deep and powerful it shook the very ground I stood on. It was a sound of pure, primal anger. The figure took a step forward, and I could finally see it more clearly. It was immense, covered in shaggy, dark fur, with broad, powerful shoulders and long arms that hung almost to its knees. Its eyes glowed with a faint, reddish light in the gloom, and they were locked directly on me. There was no curiosity in this gaze, only rage. This was the protector, the parent of the little creature I'd seen, and I had invaded its home. I didn't think. Kostran. I turned and sprinted back the way I came, not daring to look back. The sound of crashing branches and furious roars echoed behind me, getting closer. I vaulted over the doll with the bone, not caring if I broke it. I dodged trees, my lungs burning, my legs screaming. The forest was a blur of green and brown. I could feel its presence right behind me, its heavy footfalls shaking the earth. It was toying with me, I realized. It could have caught me in an instant, but it was chasing me, herding me out of its territory like an unwanted pest. I finally burst out of the dense woods and back onto the main trail, stumbling and falling to my knees, gasping for air. I scrambled to my feet and kept running, not stopping until I saw the metallic glint of my car in the parking lot. I fumbled with my keys, threw myself inside, and locked the doors. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely start the engine. As I peeled out of the lot, I glanced in the rearview mirror. For just a second, at the edge of the tree line, I saw a massive, dark shape watching me go. Then it turned and melted back into the shadows, gone as if it were never there. I drove, and I didn't look back again. I know what I saw. It wasn't just a myth. It was a family. And I'll never go back to those woods again. Some places are not meant for us, and some secrets are meant to be kept. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Be safe out there.